Keiichi Tsuchiya, the legendary Japanese racing driver known as the Drift King. From dominating the All-Japan Touring Car Championship to inspiring the creation of the initial D series, Tsuchiya's impact on car culture is immense. Today we're going to dive into two of his iconic cars, the AE86 that helped cement his legacy, and the Toyota GT86, a car that continues to prove itself as one of the most capable and stylish chassis for enthusiasts today. Before we take a look at Keiichi's personal cars, let's take a second to do a little recap as to why the AE86 and GT86 are so damn cool. The 1986 Toyota Corolla, or AE86, is an icon in the drifting world. Its lightweight design and rear-wheel drive layout made it the ideal machine for having fun in the mountains of Japan, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. And at one time, this cute little boxy car was reasonably priced, which is important because obviously drifting is not very easy on your wallet or the car. Now, most people really can't justify buying an AE86 for the purpose of drifting it today. The cars are either way too expensive or rust buckets, and the parts just aren't available like they used to be. That's where the GT86 comes into play. The GT86 is often referred to as the spiritual successor to the AE86 due to its affordability, impressive handling, and lightweight rear-wheel drive configuration. Now, the GT86 has definitely held its value over the years, but the fact that it's still relatively a new car and parts are widely available make it a very attractive option, especially for young enthusiasts. And if you're feeling bold, you can even daily it during the week and track it or drift it on the weekends. That's what I did before I moved to Japan, and it's exactly what I plan to do when I pick up another one here later this year. Back to the Drift King. So how have his years of messing around in the AE86 influenced how he decided to tune and style what many people consider to be the modern version of it? Let's take a look at both of his cars and see for ourselves. So DK has had many AE86s over the years, but for this video we're going to be taking a look at his current street car setup because it shows years and years of trial and error and is the best representation for exactly what he likes. Starting with the styling on Tsuchiya-san's AE86. And for someone known as the Drift King, this is a pretty simple looking car. That's just how he likes it. No crazy body kits, no bags, no obnoxious wing, just some factory Toyota era classy work wheels and a minty fresh paint job. Despite it being over 30 years old, this thing looks brand new. The only thing that really sticks out on this car is that green dry carbon hood. Green has always been Tsuchiya-san's signature color. This can be traced back to his old company K-Office, which manufactured things such as his famous racing gloves that can go for a pretty penny at auction, as well as parts for cars like the AE86 and S chassis. And check out the K-Office S15 from back in the day. That thing is sick. Taking a look at his GT86, you get a similar vibe. He really wanted to preserve the natural shape of the car with a very minimalistic carbon lip kit from HKS Kansai. Threw a little bit of gold on there with some pinstriping around the edge, as well as a sticker that says Black Limited. That, along with the gold Work Motion ZR10 wheels, is actually a nod to the original Black Limited version AE86 from back in the day. Toyota later actually came out with a real Black Limited GT86 for the kooky updated model. And I think this is probably around the same time that Tsuchiya-san actually took off the gold bits on his car and just took the car in a little bit of a different direction. But DK did update the headlights and tail lights to the later model version to give it a little bit more of that sophisticated, classy feel. Although I personally like a bit more of an aggressive approach to aero on the GT86, this car does not need much to look good. Toyota did such a great job with the body line. It's pretty much perfect from the factory once you lower it just a little bit on some nice wheels. Moving on to the inside of the AE86, he kept almost a full interior. TRD steering wheel, yep, those are his personal collaboration seats with Bride, classic gray and black checkered floor mats, actual headliner, and even rear seats. Sure, maybe removing some of the amenities like rear seats and the headliner saves a little bit of weight, and that could definitely make a difference for an extremely skilled driver like Keiichi Tsuchiya in a professional setting. But for a weekend warrior or even something you just use occasionally for grassroots events, you're just being ridiculous if you got your street car. Keep your car nice, boys. Don't be like the S chassis owners of the early 2000s and throw away perfectly good full interiors for no good reason. Why do you think parts are so hard to find nowadays? So the only thing that's missing from the interior of this AE86 is a radio and AC. AC I definitely get because especially on these old cars, the whole air conditioning system is very heavy. It's hard to work with. Now, one thing I am going to question is, I'm in my street car. This is his street car still. Sure, he drifts it, but he drives it on the street too. Don't you want some tunes, man? I mean, I get it. Like, you're going to want to listen to the sound of the engine. We're going to check out in a little bit because, this is a very special engine with very good sounds. It's like, if you're going to keep the seats in the car, why would you? The radio's not going to be that much more heavy. I don't know. Maybe it complicates the wiring. This is just what he likes. I like what what I like. This is the Drift King, and I'm just a guy making a YouTube video, so let's continue. The GT86 interior, once again, we have a set of Bride X Drift King seats, but besides that, everything's stock in there. So this is what you've been waiting for, the engine in the AE86. Tsuchiya-san is rocking a 20-valve 7AG. Now, what is that, you may be asking? It's actually a hybrid using components from a 7AFE and a 4AGE 20-valve engine. And this was all put together by the legendary team at Tech Arts in Ibaraki Prefecture, Japan. And DK is actually also using Tech Arts coilovers and electric dampers for this car. This 7AG sounds amazing. How much horsepower do you think it's got? I mean, this was quite the feat to put this engine together. You know, we're talking about putting pieces from two separate engines together just to make this, so it must be something special, right? It's pushing just over 200 horsepower. Yep, it's not a Hellcat. Now this engine definitely behaves a bit differently to the flat 4 FA20 in the GT86, but it's pretty interesting when you think about the fact that both of his personal cars are pushing about the same horsepower number. Despite DK's many years of driving the top of the line race cars, I'm talking fast, the man still prefers to drive his fun little low-powered Toyotas. Alright, so the engine in DK's GT86 has gone through two significant phases during the time he's owned it. The first phase followed the philosophy he went with for the rest of the car. A very simple and clean design aimed at making something any other young enthusiast could replicate, and to show that you don't need much to have fun in a GT86. You can see here that all he really did in the engine bay was add a crossbar for handling purposes, as well as a Max Arido battery to cut down on some weight. He left the engine completely stock. In fact, the only thing he did to actually improve the power output of the car was to swap out some of the fuses, throw on a Fujimoto exhaust, and change the final gear ratio in the rear differential from a 4.1 to a 4.8. And DK claims that these small changes alone give the car a very significant boost in peppiness, compared it to going from a 2-liter engine to a 2.5-liter engine. That's a big jump for this little car. I personally think this is the perfect setup. Don't get me wrong, I love me an HKS turbo kit, but if you just want a fun and reliable daily you can track on the weekends, this is the way to go. But for Tsuchiya-san, there was still something missing. So what do you all think a 4AG AE86 enthusiast is still longing for after switching to this GT86? Has to be that engine sound. So obviously you're not going to be able to get a flat 4 Subaru engine to sound exactly like an inline 4 Toyota engine, but the next best thing to give it that classic sound is to throw some ITBs on that bitch. So ITBs are individual throttle bodies. What is that? So unlike a traditional setup where a single throttle body controls the airflow to all cylinders, ITBs means that there's a separate throttle body for each cylinder. As far as the benefits of ITBs on modern engines like the FA20, they don't necessarily provide insane improvements to throttle response and airflow like they did on older engines, but they do look cool as hell and give the engine a very aggressive sound. So what have we learned from Keiichi Tsuchiya-san today? The number one takeaway from me is that simple is best, and it's very important to keep your cars tidy even if it's a drift car. The less you mess with what comes on the car from the factory, the more you can enjoy it on the track while still being able to daily it on the street. DK has been driving top of the line race cars for almost his entire life, yet when it comes to his personal cars and free time enjoyment at the track, he reverts back to low-powered, lightly tuned Toyotas because they're fun and reliable. Well, maybe the AE86 isn't exactly lightly tuned, but I think my point still stands, boys. Lightweight, low-horsepower cars allow you to feel everything and force you to push yourself while meticulously refining techniques in order to achieve your goals at the track. Although most of us now are probably not born in the golden era of being able to daily and track an AE86, we're very lucky to be alive in a new golden era, and that is the era of the GT and GR86. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. And if you want to keep up with the videos of my life here in Japan, make sure to follow me on Instagram. See you next time.